Hello, everyone, and welcome to Any Given Monday. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode, please reach out to LJ at N18 or info at N18 to get more information on rates. And today, our sponsor who we're featuring is Youth Construct. And to learn more about Youth Construct, we have a website, www.youthconstruct.org, and they're building the next generation of construction professionals. Some of their specialties include 6 months classroom and field training for students, 3 month paid internship, and career support. The focus is children and students in Harlem. Today we have our guest, Alexis McSween, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself because this conversation is exciting. I'm happy that you're all here.
Good morning, LJ, and thank you so much for having us. So my name is Alexis McSween, and I am the founder and CEO of Bottom Line Construction and Development. We're located in Harlem. We are a general contractor and a developer. We pretty much focus on public works projects such as the School Construction Authority, MTA, EDC. I would say the company was founded in 2008, and we were born, that was a recession, everyone knows that. We were born out of sort of a recession while I was actually coming out of the ground with 3 projects of my own, 3 small projects. The contractors that were participating on those projects basically ran out of money, well, like a lot of contractors. So what wound up happening was I actually had to go into the DOB, file for a contractor license so that I could finish those projects. So it was pretty, even though it was born out of sort of a stressful situation, it actually meant a lot in that I was able to complete those projects. And it created such a pipeline of opportunities that we have grown since then.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And talk to us about managing that type of growth. It sounds like it's exponential.
So I wish it was quicker. But so we've been in business 11 and a half years, and it's been a really interesting journey. As an owner of this company, I think we're quite unique in that we're really sort of mission driven and impact driven. The opportunities I saw come about upon completion of those 3 projects were sort of an opportunity to impact the community and get the community involved in construction and development. I spent about almost 2.5 years with another WBE firm established, and had some really great exposure to public works projects while in grad school. So that was an opportunity that I saw that could give people in our communities access to public works projects and access to training. And so we've been pretty committed over the past several years to engage people from the community, to train people from the community, and grow our business at the same time.
That's amazing. And, there are a few things you mentioned. You mentioned the 3 projects and how that kind of launched you into other spaces. Talk about what was important on those first 3 projects for you as a new business owner.
So I think what's important, so remember, I started backwards in a sense because most contractors enter the space into development. It's not the other way around. So I feel really passionate about development because it impacts communities and it builds up a community, and you look at it from a different perspective when you're from the places that you're developing in. So I think that the important thing to understand is when you're a small owner, no matter what the business is, a lot of us work. So my background is cardiothoracic nursing and a FIDNY EMT. And so I was working during those leading up to the developments. I started out, like a lot of other people, doing renovations, which led to larger renovations and eventually ground up projects while I worked. So it was very interesting. People don't really think about those entrepreneurs that are doing both. When you're passionate about something, oftentimes you do have to put food on the table because that money is not coming in for any business. So I know everyone can kind of relate to that. Literally working at the hospital, 12-hour shift, leaving straight from there, going to your project to see the concrete pour. It's that it is what it is. And it took a long time. I wish it was faster, but it took a long time to get to the point where you don't have to have 10 jobs to pursue your passion.
And so that's an amazing pivot. We're talking about moving from medicine into construction and like just getting, I know a lot of people, as I'm listening or to different feedback from companies, they struggle with the idea of needing capital, but it's more than just getting money. What are some of the things that you think are important for people in construction or any business?
So we talk a lot about money and the lack of capital. And in our, in a sort of male dominated field, right? It's even more than that. Access to capital. It's lack of diversity. It's those ceilings, those glass ceilings that exist. So you're sort of tackling, in addition to doing your projects and doing them, well, on time, on budget, you're also dealing with all those other factors. And I think you have to kind of go in and really know that you're passionate about what you're doing, because that passion will give you sort of that extra strength to make it through those tough days. The lack of mentorship in our field, and sometimes in business in general, a lot of us are first time generation business owners. There's a lot that people might not really realize that we're dealing with, and access to capital is just one thing. So I'm on a policy panel with 5 other wonderful developers, impact driven. And I think that when you're looking at us, it's how we're impacting the community. And so it's a much larger picture. So the financial piece, it all pertains to everything around us. So development is one piece, but development impacts schools, development impacts institutions that affect us. So we kind of have to have our hands in all those spaces and pay really close to what's happening legislative wise.
Wow. So, one of the things I think a lot of people struggle with is how do you make the time to do all of that when you're trying to run your business and make sure that it's effective, you're delivering on time, you're meeting the client's needs, you're getting new work, you're doing the business development, and now you're impacting the community and focused on making sure that the community is being built up. How are you managing all of that?
So how I manage, um, well, I think a really large part is contributed to who we choose to surround ourselves around professionally and socially. So really paying close attention to who you're spending time with, who you're doing business with, who you're, like the policy panel I'm on, what institutions you're affiliated with, who are your champions as well. So really surrounding yourself around positive people, positive institutions that are trying to do good, that have similar values, I think is a big deal. And for each of us in business, those institutions and those people may change. For example, if I'm in construction and development, there's certain types of organizations I would be affiliated with. Try to get involved, try to join organizations, sit on the board, be a member, advocate, but really make sure those organizations support you as well. And that's super important. And so I think those things help when you say, how do you find the time? It's not so much that you have all this time, but you'd be surprised how far you can go when you're surrounded around the right people and the right organizations.
Okay, so that's a whole sermon. Thank you for that Monday motivation. Um, let's also talk about the importance of, like you mentioned, community development, giving jobs and moving, really looking at how do you uplift the community like with your own individual work. You are also a founder of a nonprofit. Tell us about that. Youth Construct.
Yes, yes. So I am the founder of Youth Construct, and Youth Construct is near and dear to my heart. It was we officially established our nonprofit status around December of 2021. And prior to that, we were doing work with youth, probably about two cohorts, maybe a total of seven. And we were doing it on our own from our business. And we noticed during the pandemic, for young people, it's really important that we sort of help lift them up, because I'm also a benefactor of programs like Youth Construct and other programs that if it were not for them, I don't think I would be here. Um, I've, I didn't traditionally come out of high school and go on to higher education. As you know, I didn't finish high school, but I accomplished 3 degrees. I would not have been able to accomplish those degrees without programs like Youth Construct. So I felt it was important to really expose youth at a difficult time, which was COVID. So basically, the youth who had summer internships, summer jobs, literally went to zero. So we thought there's a huge need in the construction and development space that speaks to young people in our communities that have no access to their built environment whatsoever, have no clue how did that building go up in a patch of land? What does that building have to do with me? Who chose the retail, choices in those buildings? And so we found that when we talked to young people, they didn't even understand that there was other opportunities available to them besides just brick and mortar construction. That is important as important brick and mortar construction is, that what's also important is what came before that and what's behind the scenes and what actually gets you to completion of that building. And so we found that in interviewing young people and their parents even, that they were really shocked to find out that there were all these professions in architecture, construction, engineering, and development that actually you can start as an entry level, which is what I did, and maybe finish school over time if you have to. Because the pandemic left a lot of young people in that very space where they had lost family members, they had lost financial income to that household. So it's really important to us. So we created Youth Construct.
Yeah, and I don't think you've also shared Youth Construct actually helps ensure that the students are employable immediately after finishing the cohorts. Talk more about the programmatic aspect of Youth Construct and how that came to be.
Sure. So we were extremely fortunate. I am a graduate of a program at Columbia University and Columbia Business School called CCBP. And they were really instrumental in making sure we had MBA students, graduate students that helped us, in addition to people like Tanya Pope, Charlene De La Cruz, who helped us sort of finalize that program so it made sense, including curriculum, including benefits. The students get a stipend because they are, a lot of them are suffering from the lack of income, who couldn't participate in a program like this because they didn't have the income. So we do $1,000 stipend based on their attendance and all of their participation in the program. The curriculum basically has industry professionals, large organizations such as AECOM, Turner, CPC, that will come in and present to the students. We do a financial literacy component. They all have checking accounts, savings accounts with an organization that we partnered with. We do interviews, we do mock interviews, we do resume building. We basically expose them to the technology side, which is really important. So we had actually an architect who's the president of the AIA in the Bronx come in and go over things like CAD, BIM, and expose them to all of these. And we have about three students that want to do brick and mortar construction. Wow. And they're just wowed by all of the work that goes into getting them ready to do the brick and mortar. So it's just really a great program. We do an OSHA 40. So that's huge. They can't step onto a site without their OSHA 40. We do site visits and we go over safety principles. We go over all sorts of things that we think will help them in the next phase of their internship.
So here's the hard question. That is a lot of work for a person that's running their own business. And when, I don't know if people can really grasp, tell us about some of the projects that you're on, because now what the reason and the benefit of this conversation really is to help people understand why should community service be part of your business model and how to make time for both and why that can be very valuable overall. So question for you, tell us about some of the projects you're working on, and then also why should businesses or small business owners think about this model?
Right. That's a great question. So, and people have said, "Are you crazy?" Yes. So, like I said, it's easy for me because I'm already impact driven. I think that it's almost like we have a duty. The To be in this space is so huge, and to see, to show other young people that they can achieve these spaces is extremely important and vital to their success. So it's it's a really great model. It's something that organizations and people sort of gravitate to. So when we present, right now we're on a few projects. We just finished, we are grad mentors with the School Construction Authority as a GC. We just finished an auditorium in the Bronx. We're about to start another school in Queens for structural repair of the wall. We're on the New York Public Library project in East Harlem, and they're doing a total renovation, and we're responsible for the HVAC with a really great sub we partnered up with. We're finishing up the Victoria Theater on 125th Street, which is near and dear to our hearts. It's 200 apartments and 200 units for the Marriott Hotel. And so that's been a phenomenal project. We're about to prepare to do Studio Museum of Harlem, which is a really awesome topping slab and polished concrete throughout. So we're actively bidding all the time. We we feel like getting these contractors, these large contractors, getting, you know, the government and people, developers exposed to young people, and having our young people be able to tour those sites and just giving them access to these awesome, owners, developers, larger contractors, larger firms is just seemed like a no-brainer. And they seem excited about it as well, just from their participation. I mean, we have in-kind donations from AECOM, we have Turner, we have CPC is really on board, and hopefully we're going to do more with their development arm and getting kids exposed to real estate development on a higher level. So that's a long answer, but we are diligently working on our projects and just trying to expose as many owners as we can, and partners, even subcontractors, to these kids.
Yeah, and so even like as I think about moving in from the prime to subcontractor role, being able to take kids along the journey on your business development of your own business, when you're starting to talk to the kids, where are some of the spaces where you're seeing that there are still gaps?
So that would speak to our needs, and that's why we're always trying to fundraise. And um, I would definitely say there's gaps in technology. So, I don't know if everybody can understand how the pandemic really just catapulted us into where we were all already going, but at light speed. So now what has happened is there's a gap in the workforce, but not just young people. There's a gap in the workforce for those over 24. And so what's happening is until they get up to speed, they're actually taking, and I don't mean it that they're doing on purpose, but they're sort of taking those lower level jobs that young people that was just always as of right, they would get those jobs. I mean, it's unbelievable. So yes, some salaries have increased even in those essential jobs, but now it's sort of removed that opportunity from young people. So they need more assistance, excuse me, in getting up to speed, more technology. So we need more. funds to go into that technology for them to get up to speed, even just understanding remote work, understanding the software, understanding the multiple uses in software that they could actually get start without that degree as of right. So that's what I don't know if people understand how much of a gap there is in learning for these kids. And they're also, I mean, we're all traumatized from the pandemic. So there's a lot of social needs that they're dealing with. And I don't think people really have a clue. And so it's interesting, we're in this space and we're dealing with all sorts of stuff and and having to, sort of point them in the right direction, stay involved with their school. We speak to their guidance counselors. We take them on field trips. I mean, we took them all to NY Build 2021, and they had a great time. And so those types of things, just getting them back socially acclimated and getting them to understand the skills that they need to go forward.
Yeah, I love that. And so I think the full circle moment is that with N18, our passion is around growth, operation, scalability, and working with companies to help them better organize and grow their business, like whether it's leadership development, team building. But what was amazing was I actually saw you at the NY Build with the students. Did not know what the program was or what you were doing, but I thought, who are these high school students at this event? And then fast forward at a networking event for women in construction, that's where we actually connected. Yeah, so it really are these full circle moments where you get to see the passion, the work, but then also being a person that understands that college is not the pathway for every student. How do we uplift the community and uplift people just that have great talent, but may not necessarily want to go pursue like an academic career? And so this is very powerful. So Alexis, another thing. So we're at 7 minutes left. There are some other areas. Yeah, I know it flies by. It flies by. There are a lot of business owners that are listening, thinking, "I can't do that. How did she scale? How did she do that?" But our journeys are each individual. If you were to give, construction business owners or any small business owner that's looking to scale, moving from just one or two small jobs, but then also looking to impact their community, what are some thoughts that you would share with them?
Um, so, what advice would I give to small business owners? I would say definitely, everyone says mentorship, right? Like it's so easy. Go find a mentor.
Yeah.
I would say they are out there. When you're engaging prospective mentors, think about ways what you have to offer. We all have something to offer. It could be connections. It could be you working as a sub for them, you helping them with something. When you're looking at potential mentors, try to think about what their pain spots might be because we all have them. So the mentorship piece is important. Where do you find these people? Back to rewind the organizations. So whatever business you're in, there are organizations that surround that business. So basically for construction, you might want to belong to NIREC, which is right for developers of color. You might want to join National Association of Minority Contractors, which I sit on the board. It's a great resource to meet other contractors. There's so many organizations, Columbia Business School, those programs, See You Grow, CCBP, excellent, excellent. I mean, those programs have really made a difference in our lives. Goldman Sachs 10KSB is excellent, excellent, excellent. And they put you in a space as owners. And I know everyone says, oh, I'm too busy to do that. I'm too busy. You don't have a choice, especially now. So how else are you going to get that access? Because unless you're in school, full time, where are you getting that from? So those organizations are geared towards your growth, and they succeed when we succeed. So definitely get involved in those organizations that I mentioned. Workforce organizations, I've partnered with Strive. They're excellent workforce organization to help with young people who are trying to grow in the construction fields. The thing is, the most difficult part, I would say, is just getting out there. Meet wonderful people like you. Make connections and really look at what I know it's hard because you think you don't have anything to offer. We all have something to offer, and really look and think, what can I do for this person? And guaranteed, you'll become sort of the go-to person, and that's really great, in your industry. You know, um, get all of the tools that you can for as little possible, meaning financially, but it's going to take some work on your part. I would say those are my tidbits.
Oh, that's wonderful. And then I see someone in the comments had said providing internships is a very valuable life experience for young people, allowing them to envision a future of possibility. I think when you think about mentorship from your perspective, if you were to tell us what your greatest mentorship moment, one that you've received mentorship and were able to say, like, this testimonial is why I'm here today, what would that be? Not giving only one person credit, though, just saying generally.
Wow. Wow. That's a loaded question because I think I've benefited from a lot of people, including my own family, my grandmother. I would say there's a developer in Harlem by the name of Walter Edwards. He was really instrumental in our first boutique condo. He met with us regularly. He's phenomenal. He developed the first, I think, gold lead building in Harlem, the Kalahari. Other developers, Erica Keller of Brissa Builders, great mentor, really into, we have a similar mission as far as making an impact. So I think she's huge. There's been so many people. Those programs, Columbia, they're filled with mentors. Finance is extremely important, and you have to really pay close attention to it. And so Columbia has a great SBDC. They were the ones who nominated us, and we won the Women-Owned Business of the Year for 2020. So, getting involved with organizations like that, they're full of mentors. They're dripping with mentors. You just have to find the time. Goldman Sachs 10KSB. So there's the list goes on, even all the way back to Weibo. Do you remember Weibo?
Yeah, yeah.
So Weibo is great when you're just starting out and you're trying to define your business plans. I just I don't know if I could repeat myself enough. Is just to really align yourself with these organizations. They're all available online. Just go to their websites and join, and get your
Awesome.
team involved if you can.
No, that's
I hope
awesome.
that.
So we only have 1 minute, but there is a question. And so, shameless plug. There is, we are doing the golf tournament on June 23rd, and the proceeds will go to Youth Construct because you don't always have to start a nonprofit to be supportive. You can give to a nonprofit, and you can help lift up the same community and the youth by participating and offering your services. And so we'll end on this last question. Alexis, what are some items that you need for youth mentorship or personal business development from the construction, utility, and overall community?
Wow. Definitely, we need software. Software. We're trying to get the kids some laptops, tablets, so that they'll be able to utilize those on site. We are definitely in need of more curriculum training, personnel, staff to help with programming. We're gearing up for our next cohort for 2022 going into 2023. So it's sort of all hands on deck, and any kind of donations in kind or direct would be extremely helpful.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, it is 10:30, and so we are ending here. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank
Thank
you, Alexis.
you.
And everyone, sign up for the tournament. Connect with Alexis if you can give some kind of support and donation. And this is Any Given Monday. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.